Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fall. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
I must tell you, if your ballots, you got to get the ballots in. Who has sent their ballots in? Now, do you think those ballots are properly counted? Do you think? So when you send them in, do you think they're properly counted? You can check on your ballot to make sure it's counted properly. I know they're all saying, oh, of course, everything is so legitimate, everything is so... Perhaps I'm a more skeptical person, okay? Nobody's upset with that, right? I saw Obama saying the foundations of our country are based on this, but 8 years ago when he was running, he was saying that it was crooked as hell in Chicago, right? Just like he said Obamacare is wonderful. Keep your plan, keep your doctor, right? So you can get a ballot if you need it tomorrow. It slows today, but you can get a ballot tomorrow at University Center, and you can put your ballot in. But so important, we are on the threshold of something so incredible. It's so incredible, so exciting. But you got to get those ballots. So you can go to University Center, and they'll give you a ballot, a new ballot. They'll void your old ballot. They'll give you a new ballot.
Void your old one?
And you can go out and make sure it gets in. Now, in some places, they probably do that 4 or 5 times, but we don't do that. But that's great. So by tomorrow, hopefully, almost everybody will have their ballots in. And I must tell you...
Sorry, that was me. What the F? What the F is he talking about? If you already voted by mail in Colorado, then you should go to a place and pick up another ballot and fill that one out and then somehow void the mail-in. It doesn't work like that in Colorado, people. It doesn't work like that. And so the GOP is kind of freaked out by the crap that Donald Trump is spewing there on the campaign trail all around Colorado this weekend. It doesn't make any sense. This is the prime example of the vote rigging Donald Trump might be talking about. Somebody, a Trump voter last week was arrested because they're stupid for casting 2 ballots. And now Trump is standing there in Colorado all this weekend, saying, oh, Hillary's a criminal because of what Comey did. And, and that you should, if you don't feel like your mail-in ballot counted, then you should go get another ballot and fill that one. It doesn't work like that. The Secretary of State's office in Colorado said people can't change their votes. You can't choose to vote in person after you've submitted your mail-in ballot because once the clerk receives your ballot, it can't be changed. What is he talking about doing here? In Denver, a CBS 4 investigation found a dozen incidents in which Coloradans attempted to vote twice. And the Secretary of State, Wayne Williams, said, there are individuals who break the law and they should and are being prosecuted for that. Last week in Iowa, a Trump supporter was arrested and charged with voter fraud after casting 2 ballots. And your big kahuna here is suggesting that you vote twice. This man is so dirty, it's unbelievable. Now, as far as what's going on with Comey, I don't know. I have some ideas that I can share with you. But it would be better if we actually just read the entire emails that were sent to the Justice Department by the federal prosecutors, 100 or more of them, and former deputy attorney generals and ranking Department of Justice officials from both the Democrat and the Republican Party. I think that might be helpful to start trying to figure this out. Because God knows, I'm working on it, and I've got a couple of ideas about what's going on here. And do I trust James Comey? Yeah. Hate to tell you, but yeah, I do. I've trusted him since he toiled under John Ashcroft, which is a disgusting, boil your body if you have to toil under John Ashcroft. when they were trying to pass the warrantless wireless surveillance bill, and they couldn't get the Attorney General to sign off on it, so they waited until Ashcroft had like some gallbladder surgery and was loaded on whatever they give you after surgery, that lovely cocktail of morphine, Demerol, and fentanyl. And they went up there and they said, "Here, sign it now." And Comey was up there. He was the acting Attorney General because Ashcroft was incapacitated. And he said, "No, you are trying to," and he testified to this in the Senate, in the, I think it was the Senate or the House, that they were trying to that the Bush administration was trying to take advantage of a very, very sick man to get his signature on a warrantless wiretapping bill that, didn't stand up to the Constitution. So he became a hero to anybody who cares about their privacy back then in the day. Now, when Obama chose him to be the current FBI director, he chose him for 10 years. So think about it this way. Whoever the next president is, James Comey is going to be the FBI director. So why would James Comey do anything that would affect his being able to work with the next president of the United States unless he had a really, really, really solid reason? Unless it had something to do with national security, let's say. And I don't think it had to do with, classified, a little C on an email. Just color me, suspicious. I just don't think that's the case. Just don't. But I will tell you that Trump has been out on the campaign trail for a very, very long time. This is a little clip I'll play for you. This goes back to July. This is after James Comey gave what was an unprecedented press conference about his decision not to recommend charges to Loretta Lynch at the Department of Justice for Hillary Clinton. Now, I think everybody agreed back then that was odd. I think everybody agreed that should not have happened. But that investigation, which was, having to do with the years 2009 to 2013, in 2016 had become such a political investigation that he did it. I don't think that was the right thing to do. I don't think his editorial comments, when you are prosecuting somebody, you don't say why you refuse to bring charges. I mean, if you did that, then it would be like, let's say he was, prosecuting a Republican, and he couldn't find any legal reason to prosecute that person, but he opined how terrible that person's, habits were, or how horrible that person, behaves in private, or, things that he found out during. But the actual issue at hand, whether or not a law was broken, didn't warrant a charge. That would be disgusting, wouldn't it? And that's kind of what Comey did, and that he shouldn't have done it. Then, of course, he was called to Congress to testify. And when he was called to Congress to testify, he said, if anything new comes up, I'll let you know. Well, it turns out that this thing that's new isn't really all that new. Turns out that, now this is really disgusting. Anthony Weiner is supposed to be under investigation currently by the Justice Department, by the New York Bureau of the FBI, okay? And they seized his computer because he is allegedly accused of sending illicit emails to a girl in North Carolina who was 15 years old. Now, the girl in North Carolina's parents said they would not press charges because he wasn't ever near her. But this is what the beginning of this investigation, this is where it started. And so now they have Anthony Weiner's computer at the New York, Bureau. And New York has had this computer since the beginning of this month. It is now the last day of this month. And they then tell the feds, they just then tell the Washington Bureau that they have this, and they were going through it, and they saw something. And they won't say what it is. But think about it this way. They have Hillary's devices. They have her BlackBerry. They have her phone. They had her laptops. They had her iPads. They had whatever they have all these devices. Huma Abedin also surrendered all her devices. Her iPhone, her BlackBerry, her laptop, her iPad. We have 1 million devices each of us have. I mean, just look around. Look how many I have, okay? And these are only the ones you can see. And then in there, in Captain Leary's flight deck in there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 computers, okay? There's 9 computers. Then we all have iPhones. I don't have an iPad. But, you know, there's all these different ways, all these different devices that we need to do our little job here. So can you imagine what it takes to be on the road in constant contact with the State Department? Okay. But they turned all these things over. They turned them all over. So you know that whatever Hillary sent or received to Huma or from Huma was also discovered on Huma's devices, right? So Anthony Weiner's computer has now been seized. Now, unless Hillary Clinton was sexting with Anthony Weiner, there is no communication between Hillary and that computer. What seems to have happened here is that Huma does something I do. You know me, I like things printed. Even though there's all these computers around, I like things printed because then I can highlight them. I have them with me. I can, look up things. I put a question mark or a star, and then I know to go look that part up when I read an article. If I have a question about who is this person or what is this, or, you know, I like paper. She does too. So I think it looks to me like Huma was sending documents to her house to print. So the only question is, did Huma ever send a piece of classified information to her house to print? And that has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. That has to do with Huma. Now, I don't want to sell Huma down the river, but that's what they should be looking for, because anything Hillary sent to Huma or received from Huma, the FBI already looked at because they had Hillary's devices and they had Huma's devices. See what I mean? So all that they could be looking for is, were classified documents sent to her Yahoo account at home for printing? Or they could be looking for something they found in Podesta's emails. What? Yes. Let me first start at the beginning here, because I don't want you to think I'm a conspiracy theorist. I just want you to understand that I make timelines of things, and I look at things, and I realize what can't be, in question and what can be in question. It's just a fact pattern, and managing facts is what it is. But in Harry Reid's letter, which, by the way, I'm sure you know, Harry Reid wrote a letter on Friday to James Comey asking him, what the F did you just do? But the media did not, even though they had all these hours of weekend news, except for MSNBC, who has Lockup Raw and very old Datelines rerunning on their channel during the most amazing story in the history of October surprises, 8 days out of an election. They just chose to stay home. Fox News, on the other hand, they just had panels talking to each other. There were no guests that, could lend or share any. They had the James Cadells and, the typical usual Fox analysts, were talking to each other. That's what they had. But CNN, on the other hand, they continued to report news, tried to understand the story as much as they could, and yet they neglected to read Harry Reid's email in all these hours in its entirety. And one has to wonder why. So I'm going to take a brief moment and read the parts they didn't read. It's not a long letter. It's only one little page. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. Dear Director Comey, your actions in recent months have demonstrated a disturbing double standard for the treatment of sensitive information and what appears to be clear intent to aid one political party over another. I am writing to inform you that my office has determined that these actions may violate the Hatch Act, which bars FBI officials from using their official authority to influence an election. Through your partisan actions, you may have broken the law. The double standard established by your actions is clear. Now that's where the media stopped, correct? Okay, now you're going to hear the next paragraph. In my communications with you and other top officials in the national security community, it has become clear that you possess explosive information about close ties and coordination between Donald Trump, his top advisors, and the Russian government. A foreign interest openly hostile to the United States, which Trump praises at every opportunity. The public has a right to know this information. I wrote to you months ago calling for this information to be released to the public. There is no danger to American interests in releasing it. And yet, you continue to resist calls to inform the public of this critical information. Did you hear what I just said? Now, Gerald Nadler also, during the hearings, he also asked questions of Comey. And he also asked Comey about Russian involvement in our elections. He also asked Comey, was the FBI investigating anything to do with Russian hacking, Russian involvement? Turns out that, yes, they are. It turns out that the FBI is indeed investigating Russian intervention in this election. And here is how I this is what I glean from reading every piece of information and listening to that testimony over the weekend again, and realizing that there is information out there to support the Russians hacking into our political establishments in order to affect the result of this election. This was published, and this is what's so interesting, it was published by CNN. And so you wonder, why don't they include this when they read Harry Reid's letter? Why don't they include this when they talk about what they could be looking for in Anthony Weiner's emails or Huma Abedin's emails? Why don't they include the fact that in Podesta's hacked emails, they found phishing messages? Now, for those of you who don't know, phishing messages are fake messages that look real, and they fish you out of the pond in order to get information from you about various things. Could be your credit card information. Could be your username and password. That's what happened to John Podesta. This is CNN. A phishing email sent to Hillary, and this is from Friday as well. This was late Friday afternoon. A phishing email sent to Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, may have been so sophisticated that it fooled the campaign's own IT staffers, who at one point advised him it was a legitimate warning to change his password. The stolen email thread, released by WikiLeaks Friday, also provides the most direct evidence yet that the Russian government was behind the damaging hack into the Clinton campaign, according to a private cybersecurity company. The thread shows a Clinton campaign staffer writing that a phishing email sent to Podesta's Gmail account on March 19th, 2016 is legitimate, though the staffer advises him to go through Google's official procedures to update his password. It's not clear if Podesta gave hackers his password before he was advised by his staff, or if the email in question was the one that led to the hack. The Clinton campaign has not commented directly on the hacked emails, and CNN cannot independently verify their authenticity. But on its face, the source of the potentially dangerous email is Google, but a closer look at the actual mailing address shows an unfamiliar or bogus-looking account called noreply@accounts.googlemail.com. The subject line warns, "Someone has your password." And the body of the message says, "Someone in Ukraine tried to log into your account." Now, we get those all the time because we share our information within the show. Somebody has to get in to fix the homework section. If you'll notice, RandiRhodes.com got a big update over the weekend to make it easier for you to get your podcasts. No more temporary passwords. You create your. We did a whole lot of work, right? And so each time somebody that I've hired to do that work goes into my accounts, I get a notification. Somebody logged into your Chrome account, your Google account, your iTunes account, whatever account where they're logging into to do an update or a fix. Well, Podesta got one of those that says, "Someone in Ukraine just logged on and changed your password," and was stopped from signing into Podesta's account But this phishing email said you should change your password immediately. The words change password then appeared below for him to click on as a way to change his password. But it wasn't Google.
Clear for takeoff.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.